Welcome to Beyond the Chutes is presented by ParaSight Systems. I'm your host, Doug Simcox, and I hope that you're having a great day, staying safe, and enjoying the fall colors. Today I'm recording in Taylorsville, Kentucky, and we are continuing our conversation with a gentleman that has worked the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo as the barrel man, learned to ride bucking horses in a barbed wire arena, drove a NASCAR hauler near the wall at Daytona, and raced a go-kart in Lansing, Michigan. We came up together in the sport of professional rodeo. He is a rodeo clown, and me as an announcer. Please welcome back to the show. It's great to have him back with us, Mr. Rockin' Robbie Hodges.
Hey, Doug, how are you?
I am well, sir. I am well. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great. I'm riding the bumpity bumps here on I-10 East, heading back, getting ready to go again here. It's been a long 14 days.
Yeah, so I've been trying to follow you on Facebook. You've been very, very busy. So where are you, Route 10, where are you right this moment? Where have you been since we talked a week ago? And then, of course, where are you headed?
Okay, like I said, it's been a very interesting week. I am between Beaumont and Lake Charles on the bumpiest road in America. Mm-hmm. So if it sounds like I'm in an earthquake, that's why. I'm actually traveling. I got to do something last night that I've never got to do before. I was asked by a very good friend of mine. He's a sound guy and a scoreboard guy in the PRCA, a guy by the name of Ben Benavidez, and he does, like I said, he does the scoreboards and stuff like that, and he's High Def Rodeo is the name of his company. And I had the distinct pleasure and honor of marrying his daughter last night. She got married at a venue over near College Station, and Krista and I went and did that right after we got through with the Pasadena Livestock Show and Rodeo 9 performances of nothing but great rodeos and bullfights. Mm-hmm. And then about a year ago, she asked me, she was having some trouble finding a preacher or something, so she got frustrated and said, you know what, I want Robbie Hodges to marry me. So yeah. I went and got ordained, and here
wonderful.
I am.
Wonderful.
Yes,
perfect.
And it was quite an honor. And I tell you what, I've done some very scary stuff in the old clown barrel, and been in front of a lot of people before, but that was the scariest 155 people I think I've ever worked in front of.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
To give you some example, who was there last night? Joe Beaver.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. 8-time, all-around champion. And I asked him when I went in, I said, did you build this building? Because you built the Thomas and Mack, That's what they say.
Right.
And he said, no, I didn't build this one, and I know you're scared to death. I said, you better believe it. John Dowse, calf roper, going to the NFR this year for his second time. He was there. He was one of the groomsmen. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a great, great experience. It was something that I would like to do again, for a friend only. I would never do something like that for someone I didn't know that's maybe not in the rodeo world. Mm-hmm. But it was very interesting, and we had a great time. And I dropped my beautiful girlfriend, who without her, would have been possible because of she put all the the notes and stuff together, and I dropped her off at the Houston airport. Yeah. And now I'm heading to Jackson, Mississippi to get on an airplane in the morning to fly to do a Georgia satellite show where I'm their guitar tech for the week for Friday. And then I turn around and fly back to Jackson to do a bull riding, a bareback riding, and a bronc riding on Sunday.
Okay.
So besides that, there's not a whole lot going on.
Well. There's doesn't sound like it. So Jackson, Mississippi, Georgia satellites. You're a guitar tech. What in the world is a guitar tech?
Okay, well, I'm the guy that kind of gets everybody's electronics ready. I get their guitars in tune. Mm-hmm. I like to, I get the amps, make sure, get to do sound check, do all that. So when they go on, they're actually flying me to Atlanta tomorrow.
Wow.
And so I do that with them at a little place called Mad Life in Woodstock, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
Get to see some of my local friends there and get to be a roadie
Okay,
for
so
the weekend.
before you get to Jackson, you're actually going to Atlanta, and you're going to be working on equipment there, getting them all ready for them to go out and do this concert?
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, wow.
I'm flying. And, well, what I'm going to do, they're going to fly me from Jackson because I have to turn around and fly right back for a Saturday night party
Right.
that I'm playing at. And then Sunday I do that Bulls, Barrels, and Bronx deal. And then my journeys take me right back to Atlanta to do a rodeo there with a friend of mine named Danny Hedrick. Blue Jeans and I will get to do one together. And then I head south on the 20th of October for Arcadia, Florida, their fall rodeo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
So no downtime at all? I mean, I know you
Not right now.
Yeah, you had a bit of quiet time, right, this last few weeks.
Yeah, I did. I was at the same rodeo every night.
Right.
And that's one of my favorite rodeos. I've had that rodeo for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, and it's a wonderful thing, and it's like family there. And each night, you know, they treat Krista and I, and they treat all their contract people like family. And I got to work with the legendary Terry Starnes and Mark Evans, who is fixing to do his first national finals steer wrestling. He's the music coordinator for them. So
Okay.
had some really, really good folks, really good help. And, man, we actually had a wonderful time there. It was probably one of the best weeks of that rodeo that we've had so far.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
that's excellent. And are all the weeks like this, Robbie? I mean, are you going somewhere every day?
No, usually, well, this time of year it usually slows down, but I tell you, it's kind of been strange. It's with this resurgence of rodeo, it's really taken off, and now my November is half full. So,
And what is it typically? Not quite so busy?
No, this time of year, a lot of the rodeos are weekends.
Yeah.
You know, they may start on a Thursday, but I usually try to get in the town that I'm going to be at a day prior, you know, maybe on Wednesday for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or, you know, that said, you know, the day before. I never like to travel on the days of, just in case of, you know, car trouble or anything else or anything. And most of the time they want me there a day or so early, drink a little beer and get used to everybody and have a steak with the committee.
Okay.
So, and so I try to get in there a day early, get set up. So I have a time to change from the last rodeo I did, debrief from it, and then go into the next one, you know, because every rodeo is different. Every announcer's different. And, you know, it's just have a day of sitting on the patio, putting your feet up, relaxing a little bit, and getting back in rodeo mode or music mode, whichever I'm doing.
Sure. And you pull right onto the rodeo grounds then. So let's say it's a Friday night show. You're going to arrive on Thursday afternoon, Thursday night.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. I'll arrive in there, get plugged in, get my stuff set up, maybe get, you know, my barrel fixed up. This week I didn't do it, but I let somebody use my barrel. Wayne Ratley's sort of a student of mine in the barrel, and I let him use my clown barrel, and he got the crap beat out of it. So there's going to be a lot of work done with it. Cody Webster brought the fighting bulls there for Saturday night. We had a 15-man with a 5-man short round, so it was 20 fighting bulls on that old clown barrel. Sure beat it up pretty good, you know.
So what do you have to do to get the clown barrel back in condition?
Okay, well, you know, most of the padding didn't get ripped off of it, so what I'll do, I'll strip it down. I use this 20 mil PVC tape.
Okay.
And I wrap it all back up, and it almost looks like a piece of carbon fiber when I get through with it because it's white and black all the way through, and it looks really neat.
Okay.
And there's been times where I've actually left it as that color.
Really?
Because I liked it. Yeah, it looks like the white and the black of a carbon fiber race seat or something, you know?
Yeah, styling.
Yeah, and it looks cool. And then, you know, if they have a sponsor with Coors this week or something, I'll put the Coors sticker on it and get it ready to go, you know, and usually it doesn't get the crap beat out of it like this. You know, it'll get a ding or two working it as protection, but mainly, Doug, it you know, if I know it's going to get the crap beat out of it, I won't put the white back in. I mean, the yellow and the white back on it for Coors.
Okay.
I'll usually just leave it into that carbon fiber look because it really, really looks cool.
Yeah. And based on the rodeo, the bull riding, wherever you might be, determines if you roll in with the Coors. Do you have another sponsor you have to put on it for another bull riding type or something?
Right. We own the barrel, but the committees understand that, so they'll work with you. If I'm at a pro rodeo, it's always going to be Coors. If it's not, they'll pay me the equivalent to what Coors would. But
Okay.
generally, I had 50 performances with Coors this year already.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and they pay me a stipend to have it on the barrel. And it really works out good. It pays the fuel and some stuff, and it actually pays my trip out to Las Vegas.
Okay. Excellent. And so if they want to put a different sticker on it, it's not a PRCA rodeo.
Right.
You can put another logo on, no issue with Coors?
No, as long as it's not another malt beverage.
Okay.
We can put a bourbon, let's say, but I always, yes, we can, as long as it's not a malt or another, beer company. It can be a malt beverage. It just can't be a beer company, I guess they would say, because, they're pretty proud of that brand, and, and that's what you're there to do, sell beer. And, so, and like a lot of times there'll be a tractor company or a supply company or something. And Donna's always been very lenient with us to put it on top of that, like above the cone, where the Coors is in the middle.
I see.
You'll put a rental company or a forklift company like we've done before,
Okay. They'll allow that, even though
Yes.
Okay. Very nice.
But what we like to do is I always check with Donna Keffler. She's my sponsor liaison, just, just as a courtesy call. And we'll put it on, and it takes about, $25-$30 to get all the tape put back on that barrel. If in the shape it's in right now, it will. Most of the time, she sends the yellow tape.
Okay. And how much time are you looking at?
It
goes into the weekend, right? And that's what I'm trying to get to.
Right. It's an hour and a half to retape, to strip it down and retape it. And it depends, like I said, how in depth I'm going with it. If it's, if it's somewhere like the NFR, I'll completely strip it down to the metal.
Yeah.
Because I want it blemish free. And then sometimes, the guys, they'll say, no, you're going to get, you're going to get it punched pretty hard here. Just clean her up and call it a day.
Yeah.
So it works out very well. Most folks understand that. It's the places that you have trouble with. Sometimes they're like, well, Jimmy Bob down here at so-and-so beer company, he gave us 2 cases of beer, so we're not going to allow Coors. Well, and that's and it's 4 performances. That's $300 or more, that it's taken out. So I'll be glad to do that, but, I need my stipend for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, we're just getting 2 cases of beer from them. I said, well,
changes things. Yeah.
Yes,
And that makes sense. It does. So your Thursday night, you're there. You're going to have steak with the rodeo committee, get to know everybody. And then
it's my chill out night a lot of times if I'm traveling.
Yeah, and how far might you, and you drive into the majority of your stuff you're driving?
Sure.
Okay. So how far might you have driven to get to that Thursday afternoon at that particular rodeo? How far?
Usually all right, I'm kind of a touristy type. So like if I leave, let's say I leave Sunday and I have 4 days.
Yeah.
I might stop somewhere. I might go fishing. This week, ordinarily I went just from Pasadena to Jackson, but I drove over and did that wedding. But ordinarily, it's 1,000 miles or something, and I'll split it up because at 55, I'm getting tired of driving. I don't do the midnight oil every night like I used to. There's occasions where you have to, but like today I'll stop by John Schneider's ranch here in Louisiana on my way to Jackson, spend the night. I have a 3:00 flight tomorrow to Atlanta. That's sitting there waiting on me.
And so, John Schneider is the John Schneider, the actor.
You betcha. Okay. Yeah, Bo Duke. He's a friend of mine.
Okay.
Yep. And, a lot of people don't realize he had 4 #1 hits in the 80s.
Okay. Oh,
He's a great singer.
Yeah.
And so we like to sit on the patio.
How'd you meet him?
I met him several years ago. Tommy Schneider, my record producer, and I were going to shoot some video footage at the international finals there in Guthrie. And he happened to be there, and his beautiful wife, which he just lost her about a year ago or less. And she had a breast cancer. So I decided to become friends with him, and we've gotten to be friends, and I would stop there and we'd pick a little guitar and maybe have a cocktail and just sit around and now with this I just kind of want to go and be a friend. But he's actually in LA, so he says stop by there if you need to.
Yeah. So, and a good place to hang out for the evening, right?
Yeah, he's one of us. He might be a singer actor, but he's one of us. He understands the traveling. He raced cars a lot, and he knows the RV world and super cool. And then tomorrow I'll head on up and get my rig set up for the rodeo, and then fly up. So that way, when I get back, I'm not doing a bunch on Saturday night before I play that show. It's a science, Doug. It really is. But a normal week, I'll have this time of year, I'll have 3 or 4 days. I may stop. Buddy will come and say, hey, come by here and go fishing.
Yeah.
You have to have some sanity to this nonsense. And if you don't, I've always told these guys, some of them, I'm not doing anything fun. I'm on the rodeo trail. Well, your career is going to be short-lived because you can unfun yourself right out of this business if you're not very, very careful.
You bet. So the secret is take some time, meander about, stop and see friends.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Put on a show. I practice guitar an hour and a half every day.
Really?
So, there's somewhere, and I'll stay at RV parks, and I'll meet up. Like next week when I go, Blue's doing a rodeo up in Lebanon, Tennessee, him and his wife. So we're going to meet when we go to Thompson, Georgia next week over by Augusta. So I just told him, I said, hey, we'll meet at Bruce's. My guitar player's right around there. There's an RV park right there in Roswell. We'll stay there for a couple of days.
Okay.
You'll get to meet Bruce and hang out at the deal. And then we'll go do the rodeo. And then by Sunday, I'll head south to Arcadia, and then I'll get down there a little early so we can go fishing. Yeah. I've had a long summer, so this kind of stuff kind of helps me relax. And so you're not worn out. Everybody says that's a tough life. Well, it is.
Yeah.
But also you get to see a lot of cool stuff, and you got to stop just a little, take a little time.
And when I first met you, so this would be 2002, whatever, right?
Yeah, right around there.
You were hauling in a cargo trailer.
Yes,
right?
I was a 16-footer.
Yeah, 16-footer. Did you even have any windows in it?
I had one window in the door.
You did, okay. And air conditioner unit?
I had an air conditioner, a microwave, a little bitty TV, not a flat screen then. No. They didn't have them.
Okay. And what were you pulling with at that point?
I was pulling with an 89 Gen 1 Dodge. It was one of the first ones made. It was actually converted to a dually from a single cab. I mean, it was a single cab, 3/4 ton, and somebody put a set of duals under it, and it had the old Generation 1 motor, and I'll guarantee you it's still running somewhere. It had the Getrack 5-speed transmission, and it was so funny because first, second, third, and fourth speed you could shift, but you had to have a buddy to put it in fifth because it was over there by the door. And that sucker squeaked.
Yeah.
It rattled and squeaked, but I guarantee you when you cranked it, it would run. And Blaine Whip helped me turn the pump up on it one time.
Okay.
And it would spin the wheels. Man, that was a truck.
Yeah.
I ain't going to say it was a nice truck, but she would get you where you need to go. And then, I drove it for a couple years, pulling that. And then when I got going a little further, I went and bought a used 94 or 95 model. I'm sorry, 95, same truck.
Yeah.
And I went and had a pump put on it and had it all tuned up and turned up. And it was funny. That was in my NASCAR days. I got it in 2000, probably, I'd say 2003. I drove that one for a couple of years. And then when I got this one, it was so fast. Mike Wallace, who used, the guy I raced with, raced for, he would love to take it to lunch because it had 400 horsepower at the wheels. He said, this thing's like driving a Craftsman truck.
Yeah.
And I got tired of putting fifth gears in them. Remember, they used to spin the fifth gear off the back axle. Off the back tail shaft. So I put 9 of those on it, and it had about 380,000.
Yeah.
Took care of the motor goods, I never would. I was always easy on these vehicles because that's my lifeline, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to an 04, and then I started buying new ones, and I got in a truck program.
Seemed
and
like
now
when,
I've never changed out.
Your first big move, Dodge Dually, right? And it seemed like you bought it directly from a Dodge rep or something. Am I remembering?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I bought it from a Pat McClary, and then through Jerry Todd.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And I put another 200,000 on that one, the big red one. Yeah. That one was hard to hide at the strip joint or at the at the bar.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you
bucking horse on the side.
Right. And you were pulling a red big cargo trailer at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All stickered up, rocking Robbie Hodges.
Yep, I had it all stickered up.
Beautiful.
Yes, until.
Well, wait. So there's two stories, okay, that I want our listeners to know, okay?
Okay.
The first story, right? I'm hauling back. I got the motorhome, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I lose my clutch cylinder, my master cylinder at I-80 Truckstop. You've been to I-80 Truckstop, right?
Oh, Walcott, the biggest truck stop in the world.
Yep. I pull in there. I've got a horse trailer on behind. I'm hauling a horse. We're headed from my folks' in Cedar Falls, Iowa. We're headed back to Michigan. We pull in for fuel. I fuel up, I go to put it in gear, and it won't go in gear. I have lost the master cylinder at that point, so the only way I can get it to move is start it in gear, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, well, this isn't going to work. So Sunday afternoon, and got a young lady with us. It's and Kathleen is with us, and Laura's there, and we're hauling this horse and her friend. It's like not a big deal. We'll just stay over. We'll get it fixed tomorrow morning when the Volvo dealer opens up, right? And we'll head back on Monday. And this young lady says, no, I've got to be in summer school. You don't understand. I must be there tomorrow morning or I'm in trouble. So we're standing in the I-80 truck shop, trying to figure out what to do, and you call.
I called just to check on you. I remember that. I'm like,
and it's like, what in the world is he doing? So what are you doing? And so I said, we're broke down. We're in I-80 truck stop, Walcott, and you said...
I said, you are? I just came from Dave Moorhead's up in Dubuque, up around Dubuque. And you said, do you have anybody that could get us a vehicle?
Yeah.
And I said, funny you ask. I just flew to another rodeo.
Yeah.
My truck is at the airport in Quad Cities in Davenport, Iowa. And this is what you always do as a rodeo cowboy.
Yeah.
You never, ever, under any circumstances, when you fly somewhere to a rodeo, take your keys. Okay. Because if you get hurt and you're in an extended injury and you're in a hospital, let's say, for, an extended length of time, they don't care at the park and fly.
Right. Understood.
So it just keeps, that wheel's turning all the time. So I always put my truck keys in my gas tank or underneath it.
Yeah.
So you said, I am screwed. I said, actually, Doug, no, you're not.
No.
I said, I've got to fly. I don't fly back for a week. Yeah. I said, you're coming back anyway to get your truck.
Yep.
Go. How did you get to the airport? I don't even remember how you got to the airport.
Rented a taxi, right? It's about 20 minutes to the airport. So rent a taxi, run down there, got in the Dodge Dually, which is quite a fancy truck for me to be driving, right? Sure enough. Sure enough, the keys are exactly where you said. Fired it up, and headed back to the
and I had a
I-80.
picture. Remember, I had a picture, and I said it's an E9 or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
There was no reason for me to call, but I don't know. I just said, I'm going to go. See how Doug's doing. And you were standing there going, I am screwed.
That's absolutely right.
That's it.
So
no, you're not.
Yep. So we hooked up the trailer, got the horse trailer back to the house, got her to school on time, and heck, the next evening we was headed back to Davenport to swap things back out. So just funny
that was
how
so
it all
cool.
goes together. Yeah.
That was a great story. That's one of my favorite memories, though. When you accidentally help somebody and you don't even, but it was funny because I remember you saying, "Man, this thing is nice. I'll just trade you." I said, "Doug, yours isn't running."
That's right. And then
God,
the other story. The other story.
Yes. Oh boy, that one's not as happy.
Well, I'm sitting at work one day, right, and I get a phone call, right, and it's Robbie, and I'm like, "What's up, Robbie?" And you had no sense. I remember you had no sense of humor that day. None. Zero.
No, I was not very happy. So here we go. So we're leaving, was it Medford, Wisconsin?
Yeah.
And I get to Appleton, and I get an overzealous jackass state trooper, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, I was going like 59 and a 55. It was just stupid.
Yeah.
So I had been working for NASCAR, and I had gotten – I had my CDLs in, okay? So if you get 2 tickets in a certain amount of time, they suspend your license for 30 days.
Yep.
All right, well, I had gotten 2 tickets. They weren't anything severe. I mean, hell, everybody speeds, So I'm going down the road, and this guy meets me, and he whips around. Well, I didn't think nothing of it. I'm thinking, shoot, man, I'm not going that fast.
Mm-hmm.
So he pulls me over, and this was the craziest thing. I said, he's going to see your license. I said, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was pulling was my rig at 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
It was 12,400.
All stickered
It was 12,000. Yeah, it was 12,000.
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
Well, I had everything I needed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
For commercial.
Yep.
And he comes back and he says, "Sir, your license is suspended." I said, "Yes, but I'm not on this truck does not require a CDL because it's under 26,000 pounds. I'm 24 and then 24.4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 12,000 trailer, 2 6,000 pound axles,
mm-hmm.
and I'm 12.4 on the truck is the registered GVW on it."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Well, according to this right here, that's not how it says it. It says that you're 15.5 or something, and then 12, which would, he read the axle rating,
mm-hmm.
not the GVW.
Right.
So we sat there with this jerk, and he's
mm-hmm.
telling me all about all this stuff, and I'm watching all these big trucks go by, and I'm like, dude, and I sat there for 2 hours, and I had to call Jerry Todd, who had done the rodeo,
mm-hmm.
because he had a CDL,
mm-hmm.
or he brought somebody with a CDL to come get my truck.
Yep. And to move it off the highway, right?
Yeah, because I'm sitting on the highway, and he wouldn't even allow me to do that. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what, take me back to the rodeo grounds. I can plug in there, and we'll be fine. So we go back to the rodeo grounds. Well, I let it get about 11:30 that night when I knew this jackass, and I'm very much for the police. I am.
You bet.
As pro-police as anybody in the world. My parents were retired police officers.
Okay.
So that night about 11:30, I left, and I snuck out, and I got all the way down to about, I don't know, probably Wausau or something like that, middle Wisconsin, and I go to sleep. Well, to me, I feel like I'm a fugitive on the run. I feel like they've got an APB out on me, because I'm sure that jerk has went back there and looked, but he didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about 6 o'clock that morning, I drove about 4, and I laid down about 4. Well, about 6 or 6:30, there is a knock on my door, Doug.
Oh, man.
And I went, and I'm sitting through that door. I said, should I just shoot it out with these people, or should I open,
Yeah.
I opened the door, and I'm in my sleeping apparel.
Yeah.
And this guy says, "Hey, man, I saw you at the rodeo the other night. Can I get your autograph?" I'm going to tell you what, that scared the living hell. I was like, are you kidding me? He said, what? I said, dude. And I told him the story. I said, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to scare you.
Yeah. Well, I remember you called me and said, Doug, get your stickers off your trailer.
Yes. So that's the first thing I did. I took all the stickers off, and I looked like Johnny gone camping because – I was having to weigh and do everything at every. So I took the stickers off, and now I travel on my RV.
Yeah.
I have the only sticker on here is one Bad Clown sticker and a Good Sam's Club sticker.
Okay, but no one would know that you were using it for that's your main.
No, I know. Except now that you've told on me, but
no.
I'm just kidding.
You're out camping, right? You just told me fishing and playing guitar with John Schneider. My goodness.
Yeah.
So before I move past the John Schneider and picking guitars on the porch. When I first met you, and that's where I was going, when I met you in Dayton, Iowa, you did not know how to play a guitar at that point.
Not very good, nor an organ, remember?
Right. I do remember
that. Was the last segment.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But so it was after
I could
that.
Strum a few chords.
Yeah.
I could just, the old D, C, and G. Well, I was coming home, and I can't remember if I told this story. I was coming home, and I heard a song on the radio, and it totally changed my life. I heard a lead guitar play in Bedford Lake. I told you this, and I heard a song called Leonard Skinner, That Smell, and the second lead in that by Alan Collins. Something rang in my ear, and I said, I want to be a guitar player, and I want to take this serious. So I started playing that guitar, and since that day, for the last 20-something years, I've done nothing but I bought a little cheap guitar, actually. Lynn, my ex-wife, bought me a guitar, and I started playing it, and it's been a life-changing experience. It's been my cool down. It's been my make me cool. It's been my doing shows, meeting rock and roll people, and I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world, that first guitar, it was so amazing. And every day I practice and practice. Still, after 20 years, I can't play a bar chord, but I can still fake it. And for the musician friends out there, I'm of the pentatonic religion. I do the pentatonic scale on my leads, which everybody does in Southern rock and roll, for the most part.
Okay.
So I just learned, and it was kind of life changing. I got to play for some really cool people, and I remember my first official gig was with Luke Kaufman 10 years ago. 2013, he called me and said, how cool would it be to have, because I'd played a couple hotel nights with him just hanging out, and he said, you're doing all right with this. How cool would it be to have the rodeo clown be my guitar player in my band? I'm like, I think it'd be cool as crap, but I don't know if you will. And he says, oh, absolutely it will.
Yeah.
Come here. And I went to Phoenix and did Scottsdale Rodeo, and that night, that was my first official gig. I'd played one gig on New Year's with him in 2013. This was 2013, 2014, the same day, and
so,
oh my gosh.
So back when you're building a barbed wire fence arena,
right?
If you'd have met somebody that says, hey, we play guitar, I got a drummer, all right, I got a bass guitarist here, you need to come play with us. What would that have been possible? Would you have looked in that direction, Robbie?
Absolutely not. I was eat, sleep, fight, rodeo every day of my life. That was the most important thing to me.
Okay.
Because I was, that was the thing that got me out of, after segment one there, that was the thing that got me out of my, my shyness and my being a bully, and,
you bet.
And got me to where, that got me out of that low spot in my life. And no, I was all rodeo then. I'd have rode as Donnie Gay would say, a red-eyed lion. So, we'll get into that a little bit later, but I there's no way. I mean, I didn't concentrate on schoolwork. I didn't concentrate on anything, man.
Okay.
It was just rodeo.
Yeah. I remember. So back to this fictitious typical rodeo weekend we're talking about. You roll in on Thursday night, might pick a little guitar, might have a steak with the rodeo.
Sure.
Committee. And then Friday looks like sleep in decent, sound checks around a certain time? What's your, and this,
Yeah.
let's say this is a big rodeo, and
Okay.
throw a production meeting in there for us and tell us what in the
Okay.
world a production meeting's about.
All right. So a typical day will be, I know I'm going to be up late because most of the committees now know my music stuff, and I get a lot of rodeos because of my guitar playing and stuff too,
Okay.
And yeah, because they'll be like, "Hey, man, we hear you have one hell of an after party after." I'm the only rodeo clown with a kegerator in his trailer,
Right.
so they're like, "Hey, man, you think we might come by after, or this band's playing this deal? We think it'd be cool if you sat in or whatever." So I know it's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
So I try to get 8 hours every night, where that is, whether that be at 6 o'clock in the morning till 2, whether that be, 1 o'clock in the morning, till 9.
And you're pretty good about that? I mean, you can sleep those kind of hours?
Usually I can, because I have it 9 degrees in there and the TV on.
Okay.
And, and everything's dark, and I have a sign that says "clown down until."
Okay.
Now, they don't always adhere to it, or if I forget to put the sign out, somebody will usually, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And I'll go out and visit a minute, but I'm right back to bed.
Okay.
But, I try to get that. So I sleep. My Friday would be, I'll try to, let's say Thursday night when I get through, I'll get in the bed fairly early. Show nights, I try to get in the bed by midnight on the first night. And I'll use, if I'm there a couple days early and the committee wants to go out, certainly I'll give them one night, but if it's going to be a long week, I got to save my voice, and lack of 8 hours of sleep is rough on my voice because I'm always high pitched and on, So I'll sleep probably, till noon, let's say, because I know it's going to be a second shift job that day. People say, "Oh, you get to sleep till noon." Well, that's all and well, but I don't get to. It's required of me for my job. Just like if you work second shift at a factory, you tell me you're going to get home at 2 and get up at 6. No, so I sleep in, and then I usually go eat lunch. Somebody with a committee or one of the guys or Krista will all go out and eat lunch. Kind of visit about our week, what we're going to do, or whatever's going on or the weekend. And then about, usually I'll go stick my my microphone up there for the sound coordinator. He'll have it ready. And sometimes they'll go right in and just, they want me to cluck to sounds, what I call it, cluck it up, sound check, check one.
Yeah. Okay.
And if I'm going to do a guitar opening or something, I'll throw that together and have all my, my inner ears. You have to do inner ears when you do that, because if you don't, the sound delay is so bad that you'll miss your song.
Do you typically, inner ear monitors, do you typically use those if you aren't going to play the guitar?
At the PBRs I do, because they have what they call a confidence mic.
Okay.
And I'll have Richard Jones, or I'll have Taylor Bellis. She's the front man. She'll be in my ear. "Hey, Robbie, we're 3 away from this giveaway."
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we call it a confidence mic. It's kind of like cold trickle. "Hey, I have somebody in my ear talks to me, when I'm racing,
Right.
And, and Doug, honestly, that took a little while to get used to, because you're not used to hearing yourself in a phone booth, and that's what it sounds like. So I use one. So I'm getting an ambient sound, and then I have that sound as what I need to hear, and I'll have the 2 announcers. I'll have the music. I always have me in it.
Okay.
And then the confidence mic, they call it. And she'll be giving me information. Okay. "Hey, hang on a second. This is so and so. We need to really let us light him up right here."
Okay.
If some rodeos, I'll use it if the sound's way away, or if I'm doing a guitar opening, just to keep my
the delay.
My delay, and until you've talked on a microphone, and a lot of people haven't.
Yeah.
That delay. Now I'm so used to it, I hear what I'm saying.
Do you can you share for our listeners what when we say a sound delay? What and can you just talk, like maybe you're in the middle.
Here's what'll happen.
Yeah.
All right, so like I'll say, hello, everybody. Well, you'll hear it about a half a second after you say it.
Yeah.
And you've experienced it.
Yeah.
And once you do,
Yeah.
it makes you go, hello, hello, everybody, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, I've had it 150 feet away.
Absolutely.
And I mean, when it's that bad, and if somebody new gets on the microphone, it dry, because it has to go from me to you up there and then out to the speakers. And sound travels at 365 feet a minute, a second, not a minute.
Right.
I travel at 365 feet a minute.
Right.
So, 362 feet per second. So if it'll be it ain't hard to get 360, and you're sometimes a second off. It's never that far. It's usually a half a second.
Yeah.
That's why you always see at a national anthem that you have to sing that national anthem with ear monitors or a wedge monitor, because if you don't, you cannot sing it, because you might be a second and a half late, there.
Yeah. Yeah, you bet. Now, in the buildings, I know we're talking the arena, right? The typical big rodeo arena. In the buildings where you're doing PBRs and indoor arenas, well, how's the sound there? It's typically a center arena sound, so it's not as bad?
Right. Well, sometimes it is. And then, for instance, like when I do the World's Toughest, or if I do the PBRs, I have that monitor, and now everything's line arrays coming right back in your face.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Okay. It's hitting you right in the face.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's still that delay.
Okay.
So what I do with it is I monitor one ear, and then I've just learned to train myself to hear what my mouth says, not what my ears hear.
You bet.
Does that make sense?
It does. But you've got to really super focus, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. However, at the Wrangler National Finals, when ESPN, or if it's a telecasted deal like the WCRA, the CBS deals I do, there is no floor monitor, because they don't want to pick up the in-house announcer.
You bet.
They want theirs. So you talking about have to guess what's going on.
Really?
And it is so bad. Like when I was roll my barrel out at the NFR, I would hear, and that's exactly what it sounded like.
Really?
And then the music, and that was the year that they were doing that, you spin me round, 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 that song from The Hangover.
Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun, and it was like, and I was just dancing to what I thought they were doing, because they have no floor monitors.
Really?
And people don't understand monitors and once you're behind the speakers, all you hear is the drum kit.
Right.
If you don't have wedge monitor, and I've always told people, like, they'll say, hey, Robbie, get up here and sit in. And I can't do it with an in-ear. If they're having in-ears, there's no sense in me getting up there.
Okay.
Because you have to have that monitor to hear what you're playing and to keep time, because you'll be delayed or you won't hear what you're doing. And every once in a while, if I do it, it has been so quiet on the stage, I've been able to hear my electric guitar playing it without hearing what's coming through the amp.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's that quiet up there, and it's really weird. And you just kind of have to guess what you're doing and hoping it's in the time. You have the drum, you can sure hear it. Most of the time you hear the bass, because a lot of times they don't, he'll have a bass amp up there.
Okay.
And it's very strange until you've done that, and you understand.
Yeah. And it's with these big rodeos, your equipment, monitors, the ear monitors, your microphone, your wireless stuff, is that how this goes? Or do they say we're going to kit you up?
They kit you up because they have their own roll-around cabinets.
I see.
They don't want you. Now, if you have your own XLR, they'll just hand it back to you, say, I've already got one. They know yours. They know mine's been the hell beat out of it.
Yeah.
And the PBRs, I even use their microphone system their monitor.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
But most of the rodeos I do, I use my own.
Yeah.
And if there's any problem at all, they've got a parachute that we use.
What's that mean?
Yeah, we call it a parachute.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong, you can just grab it pretty quick and go.
I see. Okay.
Okay. And the announcer will use the parachute. He'll use the parachute also. It's usually the national anthem mic.
Okay.
You never give up your microphone, ever. You let them, if they have a national anthem singer, you set them up another one. You never want, because if they drop it, if they say something off color, you know what I mean? It ain't coming out of your microphone.
I see. Okay.
You know, that's a live, untrained people is very dangerous.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, there's no way to edit. There's no way to beep it out, is there?
There's no cough button. And we've had it happen a couple of times. You know, there's been some marriage proposals that didn't go so good. And then the guy get mad and he used a lot of vowels.
Okay. None suit for TV. None suited for TV.
Or the children, or even the drunks.
Okay.
The drunk oil rig guy in the stands, you know.
Yeah.
So we all have a fear of that. That's what we always say. When Jimmy Bob comes, hey, man, I'm going to propose to my wife. First thing we say, are you damn sure?
Yeah.
She's going to say
her answer. Yeah, she already told you. Yeah.
You know, that's a hairy one there. And you never give him. Yeah, you never give the mic to the colonel.
Yeah.
Because he's going to hear himself for a while, you know, when he's presenting to the troops and stuff, which is fine, and we love that.
Yeah.
But you hand him the mic because you can always say, all righty, thank you.
Right. Fade him down.
Yeah.
So back to the afternoon prep. You're doing your sound checks. You're talk about a production meeting. We hear this a lot, okay?
Usually they're 3 hours ahead of time in case we need to check something. Sometimes they're an hour and a half, never much more than an hour, because prior to the show, you know, if you have a 7:30 and you do a 6:30, that production meeting could take 30 minutes. You've got 30 minutes to get prepped, you know.
Okay.
So they're usually, let's say they're 2 hours. Let's just say 5:30. So what you do, you go in there with your sound guy, you go in there with your announcer, you go in there with your front man, you go in there with your producer.
What's front man?
Front man's the guy in front of the chutes that says, come on, you're next. All right, we're going to buck them in this order.
Okay, got it.
Shoot boss. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
You know, we call it front of house person.
Okay.
That's why we call it front man.
He's on the ground.
Front of house is, and he's up there because, you know, if you've ever watched, you know, some bull riding events, and I'm not knocking the Brazilians, but they tend to grow a beard while they're in the bucking chutes, you know, and it's that front man or what do you call it? You know, shoot boss guy.
Getting them wrangled through.
Somebody's got to be a jackass.
Now,
you know what I mean?
Is he got a monitor in and he can talk?
Yes.
He can talk to production and that sort of thing?
At the PBRs, he'll have a clear comm.
Okay.
You know, with a C90, and he'll be able to push the button and talk directly to our producer.
Okay. And the producer
will talk to him.
TV producer?
Well, it can be that, or like at PBRs, yes, it's either the TV producer, or it's the person calling the show.
Okay.
Yeah. At PBR, they have a music director, 2 announcers, a sound engineer.
Yeah.
Then this is before you get into TV production or scoreboard production.
Okay.
Somebody's over all that. He may have 12 people. You know, he directs. Really? He calls spotlights.
Yep.
You know, he goes where we're going next. You know, if there's a break in the action, he'll say, Robbie, we need you about 30 seconds right here. We got a commercial break.
Okay.
Yeah. And Luke Kaufman does that now with the PBR. That's why we don't play music anymore. He's so busy, you know.
Okay. And then there's a script, there's an outline, there's a at 7
Absolutely.
o'clock.
So we go down, we call it,
we
call it run of show.
Okay.
And there'll be a run of show or a day sheet is what y'all probably call it there, you know, and it'll have how many contestants, how many have drawn out, how many doctor's releases, how many turnouts. You know, you always want to know how many turnouts you have before you do an act. So let's say 90% of the rodeos you do, your act is right after saddle bronc riding, okay? So you'll want to know how many broncos you're bucking, so you'll...
Yep. So you can be ready.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, you know...
Yep.
So you'll be ready because you don't want to get caught off guard because, you know, as soon as that last bronc goes, they run a sponsorship flag, you know, you're starting your act. So we talk about that a lot, and then we talk about, you know, what time to be, you know, that we're going to start, what time... you know, the flag girls will be there. Who's singing the national anthem? Is it canned or is it live? You know, where's the microphone going to be? You know, and then we'll run down the list and, you know, we'll have the opening. Okay, first thing we're going to have are the the soldiers or the swearing in if they have one of those, or all right, then we're going to have that, and then we're going to have the prayer, and then we're going to have some Americana, and then we're going to start the national anthem, which direction's the flag, stuff like that. And then,
okay.
And, and then they'll say, and then we'll say, all right, we're going down. Okay, we're going to send the sponsor flags after the event or prior to the event. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's jotting this down. I never have to, because I usually I'm always in that arena somewhere that I can step out if I need.
Yep.
And where are you going to be if there's a screw up?
Mm-hmm.
If horse flips, or if there's a.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they'll say, all right, so we'll go down. All right, next event after we fly the flags, for the. Let's say the steer wrestling's usually next. So we got 6 of those, 1 turnout. Here's the splits, which splits are if they're riding the same horse, they'll let them split it up to where they can use another horse. If the guys say you got the first 3 guys using the same horse, that's 15 minutes getting them ready, or not that long, but
yeah.
So they'll say, all right, we're going to take the number 8 guy.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take the number 8 guy and put him at number 2.
Yeah.
And then the number 4 guy, we're going to put him at number 3. That way, this guy has time to change his stirrups, and he's ready when he's called upon to get in the box and go.
Okay.
And it never slows down production. You move him to 8, and you put the 2 guy to, it's called splits.
Yeah.
So you'll get them, and then they'll say, all right, after that event, we're going to have the mutton busting. All right. So, all right, the mutton busting rep will be there, and he'll say, all right, I can have it set up in 3 minutes. We need a little quick joke right there, Robbie.
Okay.
Or we're going to introduce you after the barrack ride, and Robbie, we need a minute to get them down to the steer wrestling. And then you say, well, I'm going to need about, 2 minutes there to set the mutton bust and shoot up and get the first kid loaded.
Mm-hmm.
So I know to do a quick little joke there, about 2 minutes, and I can time it.
Yep.
Then the next thing you do, you go to the next event, and you get all the way down, and it happens if they have a giveaway or whatever, and then you get to the bronc ride, and he'll say, all right, Robbie, after the bronc ride, what act are you doing? I'll say, okay, well, I'm doing Elvis. I'll do the Elvis Parsley Cooking Show.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you need for that? I'll say, can you get me, I need 2 chicks to run out, 1 security guard looking dude, and a little kid to put in the oven for the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And
they'll go recruit these for you.
Exactly.
These volunteers. Okay.
Yep. And then he'll say, yeah, or I will. I pick my own 90% of the time. Now the PBRs, I have a manager that takes care of every bit of that. So he'll say, when you go to this section, it's, be at 304, pick you somebody out for the Pendleton deal. It's a lot easier. However, I know that's part of my job. So I'll have my guys ready. Mm-hmm. And they'll be, how long's your act? Because then to get the barrier ready for the calf roping or or whatever event's next.
Yep.
And
at this time, same production meeting, you're going over music for your acts, script for the announcer.
I try not to stop it. So what I try to do is say, I'll get with you here in a minute on music.
Okay. But
I've already sent it up there. I keep a flash drive. I keep a flash drive attached to my mic box, my mic head. And the reason is it has every song, everything I'm going to need for the next, 2 or 3 days of rodeos.
Okay.
So and it'll be in there, and they can put it in their Sports Sound Pro. If that, if you understand what I'm saying, they'll plug it in, and then they'll say, or most of them nowadays already, I'll say, do you have Elvis? Oh yeah, I got it from a year ago.
Okay.
And I'll be like, okay. So then, and then if we need to go over the act, if there's any scripting, I don't like to script them. I just kind of give them a bullet points, let's say, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
And then they will tell me, okay, I can do this, or we'll do that. And then this happens then, I try to make my acts announcer proof just because I work with so many different ones. Not that they're not good or bad. It's just a lot easier. If I need to ask a question that has to be asked, sometimes I'll even ask it.
Right. Right.
Like if when I'm doing the chicken in outer space, and he says, if he misses, where you going? I said, well, yeah, we're fixing to go. We're going into outer space with this thing.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to say, well, where you going? Well, we're going to the sun.
Right. Right.
Well, you idiot, you'll burn up. I said, no, nitwit, that's why we're going at night, or something.
Right. I remember.
And,
yeah.
And then that's a cue.
Mm-hmm.
If they miss it, I'll say, yeah, you know where we're going, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, where are you going? And he won't answer it. Right. I'll say, we're going to the sun.
Yeah.
And then I can get back on script,
Yeah.
And that's why I try to make everything announcer proof, because there's no sense, because you have some great announcers that can jump in there, and then you may have some that don't work that style, and so announcers are like bucking horses. You can't ride every one of them the same.
Right.
You have to change your terminology. You have to change your style. Sometimes you have to change, you have to change the things that'll help him be better by the way he is. Some of them are dry.
Yeah.
Some of them are 90 miles an hour. Some of them will answer questions before you even answer them.
Right.
And then you got some that'll try to tell your jokes for you.
Yeah.
Those are always the fun ones.
Yeah.
Yippee.
Yeah. Understood.
So I know who my announcer is going to be. So we talk, and then, I always ask, hey, is there a fighting bull at the end and stuff like that, and and they'll say, yeah, like at Benny's, he always fights a fighting bull, and they'll be like, how many rounds you want to make? If I know him, I'll say, feed him the barrel. We'll get him out of there pretty quick, or, if we're short on bull riders, we may run one in the middle of the bull ride and the bullfight. What that production meeting is gets everybody at that rodeo, from the guy letting horses out to everybody that's production based. It doesn't have anything to do with cooking hot dogs or any of that, or the people. This is just to get people tied together in the same raft for 2 hours.
Right. Right. And a production meeting before so you're there 3 performances. You're there Friday, Saturday, Sundays, or production meeting before every rodeo?
Yes, my biggest fear in life is when somebody says, "Oh, we're not going to have a production meeting.
Really?
You don't know what to do." I'm
Okay.
like, "Oh, geez."
Yeah.
It's going to be a non-production based timey rodeo.
Okay. Okay. And these production folks, they are to the watch, right? They're saying 2 hours and 15 or whatever it might be.
At 2:15 and 27 seconds, we're going to do this, and they try to get to that. The reason they put that 27 seconds is aim for the center and nothing else.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's kind of how you want it run too. What you got to understand, Doug, is the technology era that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anything over an hour and a half bores people. I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do anything in the heat, drinking beer, hanging out in the sunshine for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I try to tell these committees, and some of them want them to run 4.5 hours. They're going to have every event. Well, people complain about it. And you'll look up at $1.45 to $1.50. Now, 2 hours ain't bad.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say an hour and a half. I'm going to say an hour and 45 to 2 hours.
Okay.
Okay. If it's going good and it's a great production, anything over 2 hours, they start looking at their cell phones.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Because we're in such an instant gratification, technology-based era right now that after people, you can't keep their attention for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Anything much over 2 hours,
So PRCA rodeos and PBR events, challenger events, whatever. You walk and talk only at the PBR events?
Yeah, 90% of those I'll never do an act.
You never
now,
do
I'll
an
do
act.
a little giveaway an act. I'll do like a giveaway act to where, we'll stand them all up and call it the Pendleton Letter Buck, section. And you give away a Pendleton whiskey prize pack, and they all have to act like they're riding a bull.
Right.
Or I'll give away, best dressed, gets a boot barn certificate But like a rodeo act, that is a time to let everybody take a breath. It said production.
Right. And is that different? I mean, are you okay with that? Walking and talking?
I love it. Oh, that's my, that as well as I do. My walking talking is what's made me a rodeo clown, a successful one. I guess if I'm successful, it is the one that, because to be honest with you, I hate doing acts. I wish I could always just walk and talk. And a lot of bigger rodeos, that's all they want because they're on a time restraint. And these artists now have started finding committees.
Really?
If they go, like when if they're past their start time, let's say, if they have it on the contract to start at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And they're starting that rodeo at 10:15.
Yeah. They're
mad and they're charging you, $75 or $200 for a late fee, and because they have a schedule too,
You bet.
So we try to keep it like that. And, but that's why walk and talking a lot of times at first concerts, they'll say, hey, let's just do a walk and talk right here, which is about a 3-minute, with no preparation. You just, I can go out there and do my, I'd go out there and do something, cut up banner with the announcer. I can banner with him. I can, go to the crowd, do something. I have a deal where, how many of y'all ever drank out of a garden hose and, country folks, city folks thing.
Okay.
And that cuts the time down because when you sing the national anthem, somebody's thumb is on a stopwatch.
Okay. Understood.
That's our official start. Is the national anthem.
So do you see typically, because every rodeo you go to on a weekend is a different rodeo than you've been to the week before, Pasadena aside,
right?
Is the second rodeo better than the first one and the third one better than the second one?
That's a great question. I tend to think my first performance is sometimes my best because I use some stuff. And then the next time I have to use something that's already been used, it's a totally different crowd most of the time. But I feel like I get bored with it, let's say.
Okay.
And if I use the same thing, it kind of bores me, so I don't feel like it's as good a performance. And sometimes after that first performance, I say, well, I shot the wad here. What am I going to do tomorrow?
Yeah.
But by the third, after you do the third perf, and it goes into perf number 4, let's say, you can start over.
Okay. So enough
even with
difference
acts,
in crowds.
Well, just enough time has stretched out that I can kind of use the same jokes. But gosh, I hate using. I'm the most unscripted rodeo clown in the business. I mean, you got guys that are, okay, at this time I'm going to tell this joke. You need to say this right then. Oh my gosh, you're talking about. Hey, and each to their own that can do that. But this guy can't do it.
Okay, so let me go down. I've got a few questions that I get from listeners, right? So the first one always is, how do you choose your makeup? Do you have the same makeup every time you roll?
I do. At first, I changed mine many years ago because I had a lot of makeup on. Like I'd make the raccoon eyes out of white. Let's say, and the big red nose, the whole nose was red, and then the big smile face, and I got to notice, and like, you come up to a 5-year-old kid with that on, or a 4-year-old kid, because, excuse me for saying it, but these jackasses have turned clowns into scary creatures.
Yeah.
So what I do now is I put stripes. I put like 1 finger width on my eyes and on the sides of my eyes, and then I do them one, what I call the red honking nose, just a little red dot on my nose, or the size of a dime.
Okay.
And then I put, then I go ahead and put my smile face on because, I wanted that to be extenuated, but I don't want to scare kids. So when they see me put the makeup on, that helps a lot. Like, for instance, kind of change the subject a little bit. There's a lot of kids now that are mortified of clowns.
Yep, that makes sense. Yep.
So when I hear somebody that he's very scared of clowns, I'll be like, okay, you know what? I got an idea. Bring your mom and bring your dad and come down. And what I'll do, I'll let them stand in my little bathroom, get ready room, and I'll let them help me put the makeup on.
Okay.
And, I'll say, all right, now you put my red honking nose on. And by then they're laughing because I'm just a regular person.
Right.
I have hands and toes just like your mom and dad.
Right.
until I get the one-arm guy. Oh, that ain't funny.
Right.
But anyway,
no
we'll talk about that at a later time.
No, I heard
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Hey, man, that ain't funny at all. I ain't gonna know.
Yeah.
So then I'll let them actually put the makeup on, and then I might even I say, hey, you want to put a little bit on you? No, you're not scary, because the worst part of this is scaring a child,
For sure.
That's why I don't make a lot of noise in my acts. There's an old saying, either be funny or be loud.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to be loud. I might not be funny, but because there's nothing to me less funny than a little kid that when you bring something out there that they're holding their ears crying the whole time.
Right.
Wow, what have you done?
Right.
What have you done?
Yeah.
You've scared a little kid. Whoop-tee, by having a bomb that's like a nuke, as we call it.
Right.
It's just stupid to me, but, to each their own. But I want them to be able to sit and enjoy the act and not have little Johnny screaming to the top of his lungs because he knows there's going to be a bomb.
Yeah. So your makeup, Robbie, is always the same?
Yes, it is. It's always the same.
Okay. And what was the influence, or where'd that kind of come from?
I've always heard of them, people, well, I have my face patented. Oh, that's bull crap. Come on. It's what fits me, and I can put it on in 4 minutes after having a long night, and I need to be up at 5:45 to do the morning news.
Yeah.
And so I can actually I have been from dead asleep to made up and stand in front of the TV in 4 minutes before.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah. Mine doesn't take very long.
Okay.
And that's, and what's funny about that is, Doug, is some of my times that, like, trying to think how to, I get in rodeo mode with my buddies when I start putting this makeup on.
You do. You start to focus in.
Yeah, and we get to cutting up, doing stupid stuff, grabbing the guitars, aggravating my girlfriend.
When the makeup starts to go on.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what is that? So does that change your personality? Do you click?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, 100%. I will, I'll go into the idiot mode, Kristen calls it. Oh, gosh, she's getting into rodeo mode. We'll be cutting up, playing. I'll be saying, Chris, get some beers out here. Hey, I'm just showing off for my friends. You know what I mean? Or, it's almost jerk clown mode. You just, I think it helps to get me focused to be in that. And that's about an hour. And we'll all sit around sometimes, if the football game's on, we'll sit around in there. We'll do something. I'll say something stupid. Not a lot of drinking then because a lot of lives are at stake. We might have a beer. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
An edge knocker or a drink before the show, but, a beer or something with the guys. And they'll be like, yeah, let's all have us a toast, And I'll sit in there with them guys and we'll talk about it because I'm the old guy and they'll have some questions about the bulls and, the bullfighters. I love it when they come in and get dressed in there with me, and stuff in the camper. And, they're getting their pads on, they're getting their stuff on and getting in rodeo mode also. That's a fun time for me. It is a locker room.
Okay.
Same as the locker room. And the locker room is a sacred area. The locker room is our sacred ground. Be it in my trailer or whatever. We might be visiting with some people. A lot of times some little kids will come by more than at night. The committee will say, hey, I want you to meet my little, my nephew or something. I'll give him a picture and, we're getting ready and stuff. That's a favorite part of rodeo for me.
Okay. Excellent. So how many rodeos, another question, how many rodeos or performances per year do you do typically? Not including your music and concerts and all that.
This year I did 46.
46 performances?
No, 46 rodeos.
Rodeos, okay.
With the average of 2. So, or I did well over 100 performances because some of them are 10,
You bet.
So I probably did 125 performances.
Yeah. And
then I did
46 rodeos, dude. There's 52 weekends in a year.
Yep. Now, when people say that, they say, well, that's impossible. But you don't understand.
Yeah.
I might do a one-night rodeo here and do
Okay.
one, Wednesday and then another one Thursday,
Are
in
you
the summer.
doing a lot of one-offs?
Yes.
You
yes.
are?
During the
You are.
summer, I do, especially with Barnes and them, because I love their run, because I think I had 2 tanks of gas in the entire run of a month. It was great. I'd go 40 miles, do another one. They may not pay as much. They're great. They pay good, but they may not be as much as, some of the higher paying gigs. But, man, I have no diesel smoke in it, as we call it.
You bet.
So,
you bet.
But you got to remember, that's a different rodeo every time. I had 50 performances under Coors Barrel.
Really? Okay.
And then I had probably 40 under. I'd say 40 under PBRs.
Okay.
And then another 35 or 40 in open rodeos, single outs.
Now, when you say open rodeos, what do you you're not?
Well, they're not sanctioned.
Non-PRCA?
They're not sanctioned by the PRCA, or they're not sanctioned. They're not sanctioned by the PRCA, so I don't use the Coors Barrel there. It may be on it, but I don't count it in my rodeo count.
So, are you still doing some IPRA stuff?
Absolutely, I'm doing one next week, and I'm very excited about it.
Okay.
So,
okay, excellent.
I get to work one for Danny Hedrick, who's a stock contractor, and he was one of my old traveling partners when we were riding bucking horses.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
he had forgot to hire a clown, so he calls Blue to say, hey, man, I need a clown. He said, I got one sitting in the back seat that would love to come see you. And he's like, all right,
How fun to be able to do that with those guys. How very cool.
It's great, and that adds to the bank account, and also, I get to see my friends.
Yeah. And absolutely. And how many miles are you putting on a truck in a year?
Anywhere from 40 to, by the time this year is out, this truck here, I got it. I've had it 13 months. I got it in September.
Yeah.
Over Labor Day.
Yeah. And
I have, I think the warranty has got about 500 miles. So I'm at 35,500 miles.
So $35K in about 13 months. How often will you be trading out? I mean, because of
once a year, or maybe 2. I'm going to do them a year. Yeah, I've got a really good deal with Bailey Automotive out of Okmulgee.
Okay.
And he gives them to me because he wants me in one of his trucks, So I buy them at a great, great price. And then right now I'm actually selling a truck is worth more than it is at his price. So I'm actually making money, which I don't make money. It's paperwork money. I actually put it on the next one. So, and I'll call him after a year or so, and I'll say, hey, man, I need to buy a warranty for this truck. And he'll be like, let's just run a new one under your same price.
Okay.
Okay. So, and that's a day's labor to get it swapped around.
You bet. And is it stickered up at all, the truck?
No. You couldn't.
You wouldn't know anything about it.
No. This is a 2000. I'm in a 22 right now.
Yeah.
And it's maroon 4-wheel drive, and it looks like every other maroon 4-wheel drive Ram. Every 2 or 3 years. Oh yeah, it's a dually.
Oh, it is a dually. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have to, because this trailer I have weighs 22,000.
What are you pulling?
I'm pulling a 44-foot Cyclone RV.
Wow.
With a side patio with a toy hauler. It's a toy hauler with a side patio. It used to be the longest one you can get in 2018, but now I think there's a 45-footer.
Okay.
And it's the premier. It's it lists for 130,000, I think.
Holy cow. And how often?
But that's my house.
I know. I totally get it. But you're putting miles on this house.
Oh, Lord.
Right. And I don't just mean miles going down the highway. You know what I mean? Your locker room, your party room, all that sort of thing. Oh, yeah.
There'll be 80 people in it. I'll give you – this is a 2018, and it's getting pretty beat up. But here's what happened.
Yeah.
We're having a lot of trouble with the bottom end of these trailers, the suspension, the drive. Mm-hmm. They're made to go to the lake. Mm-hmm. They're made to go to the lake 4 times a year, and you be cool and live, live in it for 3 days a week. Well, I'm living in this one, and it's got 200 and something thousand, over 200,000 miles on it.
Really?
So what I did, the bottom end came out from under. I hit something in the road, and the bottom end came out, so they were going to replace it. So I got them to replace it. You know, when they did it, Wes Stevenson, the old bareback rider, 10-time NFR guy, he's a great metalwork guy. I mean, he does heavy metal. So I put a set of cattle hauler axles and DX wheels under this thing. You know, the big flat plate wheels like you see.
Yep.
On a cattle hauler trailer, not a semi, but like a big gooseneck that has and I put 8,000-pound axles under.
Holy cow! Okay, so you're
that's
going
why
down
I've
the road.
kept it longer than I would. Yeah, if ordinarily I'd already traded.
Right.
But she's holding up pretty good, and then I don't want that junky suspension that's under the new ones.
Yeah.
You know.
So you will, when you trade out, will you say, "Hey, put my 8K axles under this new one"?
You know what? I'm thinking very seriously about that, and I might swap them and have them put back. You know, it was funny when I traded these. I was having a lot of trouble with the back end, breaking springs and shackles and wearing them out. When we measured it, they measured it off the box. And I'm not knocking the company. I mean, they're not made to do what I do with it, but it was almost 2.5 inches out of true.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you think about 2.5 inches doesn't sound that far until you're going down the road 100,000 miles. How many tires are you blowing out, wearing out?
Absolutely. So talk a little bit about
I measured
that.
from the I measured from the pin box. On this one back, and Wes and them did, and that's where we found out it was almost 2.5 inches out.
Holy cow!
So we trued everything back up and got it pulling right now. Now if I break you're going to break a spring every once in a while with these rough roads. It pulls right back up into the spring perch. Never any problems, you know. And I always keep I keep 2 sets of springs and a set of bolts for this thing at all times.
I was going to ask. Okay, and you can swap those yourself?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This trailer actually has self-levelers that will level it, and it will pick it up off the ground to change the tire. You never have to.
Really? Okay.
You don't have to worry about a jack if you have a flat tire or something.
How often do you, challenges of the roads, always another question that comes in from, right? So how often, so when you lost your axles, when everything went to heck and you had to figure it out, how long were you down? Where were you stranded? How did that work?
No, what I did, it had broke again, and I put another spring on it, and I called Wes and said, "Wes, I got a week here." Okay. I happened to be near him, and I said, and it was junk. I mean, it was beat down. You know, the shackles and stuff were bent, and I nursed it home on the way home, and I said, you know, I was coming back from the NFR actually. Okay. And I hit something in New Mexico on the road, and it pulled one out. So I put 2 spares on it to get to Texas. He lives in Granbury below Fort Worth. Okay. And I said to him, you know, I want to get this fixed. I have 13,000, and he said we can do it for that. That's axles, tires, wheels, the labor, and everything. So he got it. He went back to the insurance and said, well, hey, we need a little more for this kind of stuff, which it was torn up, you know.
Yeah. And have you had instances though where, man, you're stranded, you got truck issues, you got trailer issues? Does that happen or no?
Yes, it does. Very much. The road it's rough on them, and the way the roads are right now, they're killing these axles, they're killing these trucks, they're killing these trailers, and it's so tough to keep stuff going, tires and wheels and you know, and it's very rough.
Yeah.
So,
and how many days a year are you on the road, Robbie, away from home?
I'm actually okay. Well, home is actually this RV.
Okay. Away from Georgia, away from Cave Springs. You know what I'm saying? Yep.
I'm never in Cave Spring anymore. Actually, I have a farm just out of there.
Okay.
And I don't get to go home much. I go get to see my friends, like when I did my home deal the other day. You know, my reunion. But mainly, Doug, I live down in Gulf Shores, Alabama, with my kids and my ex-wife on the ranch. Yeah. And then I fly out of there, and then I when I do that, I'll take I'll take a weekend and fly like on Thursday to Sunday, and then I'm back, and I get to be a dad with the kids. But about April, it starts, you know, and I have to travel then, and there's so much traveling in the spring, you know, and it's so funny story. I told you I'm going down the road here, and Matt from Blackberry Smoke just called me. That's crazy. Yeah. That's another rock and roll guy. They may be coming to the show this week. That's kind of cool. That's a day in my life right there to get a cool call from a cool guy.
That's cool. That's cool.
And I'm trying to hang up on Matt from Blackberry Smoke to talk to you, Doug. You are my good friend.
No doubt. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we're getting close to the end here. We're getting close to the end.
I'm enjoying. Let me tell you, and to change the subject.
Yeah.
This is like a couch, and you're the therapist that I've got to talk about how my life has been.
Yeah.
And how things have developed in my life from being miserable to now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, getting to do one of my best friend's weddings for his daughter this week. And, you know, I guess the good Lord decided with me, he said, you know what? You had hell in your toughest years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you sucked it up and made it. So, you know what to do? You got to do whatever the hell you want to do. And no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. Don't take no. Try it until they say no.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just kind of how I've been. And
try it until they say no. I love it.
Yeah, you know. And you can't have no in your heart. Joe Dirt said that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, back to the traveling and stuff.
Yeah.
If I want a mountain home living in this RV, I go to the mountains. If I want a beach house, I go to the beach house. I spend a lot of time in Granbury, Texas, with Wes out there at the lake.
Okay.
And then my beautiful girlfriend, Krista, we've been together 13 years. It was our anniversary last week.
Congratulations.
She lives in San Diego. Yeah. Well, thank you. She lives in San Diego. Her and that dog have got me more. They've gotten me more rodeos and gigs than anything else. You know, I have to say, because she's beautiful, she's charming.
Yeah.
And we all know how Bullet was, you know, from the last segment.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
You know, I've been blessed with cool, you know, and this music thing has changed my life, you know, around Texas and stuff, getting to play music with everybody and the friends I made, just like I told you a minute ago.
Yeah.
You know, Matt from Blackberry Smoke calling, but it's been a life changer, and someday it's all going to come to a screeching halt.
You think so? Or you think it's just going to kind of coast in? Well, what do you think?
No.
You think
when they start putting the embalming fluid?
Oh.
Put the embalming fluid in, then I'm going to quit looking for new things. You know, I'm always looking for the next big adventure, and so far I've found it.
Okay.
And,
so,
you know.
Yeah, so you're talking about, you know, everybody's careers come to an end at some point. Are you 10 years away? Are you 15 years away? What are you, from the rodeo aspect and the going?
Honestly, I'm thinking 8 to 10 more. I'm 55, Doug.
Okay.
When I can't protect people in that barrel, which the guys take very, very, very good care of the old guy, because they know, you know, I mean, my 17 concussions that I've had, and you know, and they know that I'm not in the twilights, but you know, I'm getting to the point. I'm really getting to the point where, you know, those dingings and crashings are hurting me a little bit more, but I still do them when there's a wreck. And there's nothing makes me happier than coming out of that barrel and them bullfighters are laughing. So, well, you saved that one.
Right.
Uncle Robbie,
so
you know,
if you're talking 8 to 10 more years, how far ahead, this is another question always comes in, how far ahead are you booking shows and rodeos?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right?
That's a great question. Okay, well, I'll give you an example, you know, and now I'm not a full book for I'm a full book for next year and about 3/4 of a book the year after that. I try not to book out too far. And I'm going to tell you why, Doug.
Yeah.
We don't know what gas is going to go to. We don't know what diesel's going to be.
Oh, so when
these guys that get nervous,
you're guaranteeing price when you book?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
You are.
You know,
You're locking it in.
They try to pin you to that.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, if I'm going to book something, you know, 3 years out, I'm going to book it at $2,500 perf, you know, because I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to book a clause in there that say if gas has gone up this much, I'm going to have a little stipend.
Fuel surcharge.
You know, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that. And, you know, if it's all running great and it's running across there great, that's fine. Yeah. That's more than fine.
Yeah. So then all the travel and all the so far out, how do you plan your schedule? I mean, do you literally get out an atlas and say, okay, if I book this show, I'm going to go from, it's 1,500 miles to go from here on a Monday morning to a Thursday afternoon, right? And then it's 1,000 miles, but I got to be there for Tuesday afternoon. Are you doing that sort of thinking, or?
I am. You know, you have to, Doug, but you try to put a run together. But here's the problem: there are so many clowns now, so many different dates after COVID. You know, dates changed and stuff. It's pretty doggone hard, to be honest with you, to put a whole full run together. Now, I was lucky. You know, with the Barnes run, it was Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska. Okay. You know, you were in a Midwest circle.
Yep.
This year, I was in a good Midwest circle of Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, South Dakota. You know.
But you've done those great big circles, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've driven the wheels off one to get to them. And then at the end of the day, what's the difference? And this is what I try to tell these kids, these young guys. They panic sometimes. And this is a good way to put it, and this is how I tell them. They'll panic sometimes because they leave Las Vegas in their booth and they've nothing booked. So I will say to them, hey, let me put it in an example. You're booking rodeos, you're dropping the price just so you get it. Okay, let's say this. Let's say a guy calls you tomorrow and says, hey, Billy Joe, for lack of a better name, I don't want to use any names, but there is underneath a bench in Rapid City, South Dakota, okay? There is a bench with $400 under it. You're going to take your truck and you're going to drive up there. We're going to pay your fuel, okay? We're going to pay your fuel and expenses, but there is underneath a bench is an envelope. It has $400 in it. Would you drive from Houston to Rapid City to pick that 400 up? And you know what he'd do? You're out of your flipping mind, you stupid clown.
Right.
I said, well, you're doing the same thing when you book it for this price, and it takes you $1,200 to get there. And back.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? But they see this glamorous price of, you know, people say, well, that Robbie makes $1,500 to $2,000 a perf. Well, they don't realize, you know, that credit card machine,
got a lot of overhead,
at
don't
that
you?
gas.
You bet.
Yes.
You bet.
And I try to tell them that. And I said, don't panic. And I've shown them now, I don't ever fill my book up in Vegas. I wait. I make more money, for lack of a better term, sloppy seconds than I do off of that. They'll call me like this week. I just booked $4,500 for the next month worth of rodeos this week.
Right.
Because people will call you and they know that I don't book that far in advance, and I can really, you know, and then when they're late like that, sometimes they don't mind paying you a little more. Now I don't do that. I don't say, well, you caught me last, it's going to cost you twice as much.
Right.
But then I can charge where my fuel is also, you know, where fuel is being priced, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. Absolutely.
You know, and I try to tell these young guys, don't panic.
Yeah.
Especially your first or second year. I said, we've all of us have done some rodeos. We didn't make any money, especially the year when that fuel went to that. You know, when I had them booked, I said, and they'll be like, well, should I call back? No. Once you call back, you're going to get to do that rodeo once.
You bet. You bet.
You know, because nobody, you know, you can drop a price.
Mm-hmm.
You can start high and go low, but you can't change prices. You know, and I think the guys, and that's the gold buckles and the plaques that I never get.
Yeah.
Is the respect to the young kids that can call and say, "Hey, Robbie, what do I need to do here?
What do you need to do? Do I need to panic just yet?" Right?
Yeah, and I'll say, "No, why not panic?" And you know what? They'll call and say, "Hey, I don't have anything in June." I say, "Give me about 15 minutes."
Okay, and you can hustle up some stuff for them.
Oh yeah, or somebody come. You know, for every one that you can do, usually there's 2 to 4 that you can't that weekend.
Yeah.
Somebody's called you on. You know, and I say, you know, and if you've worked hard and you've earned it.
Yep.
And you get, you know, and you haven't undercut or done something, somebody's going to send you one. And you got to remember, there's 5 big guys in this business. When I say 5 big guys, you know, the brothers, we call it, you know, me, Rump, John, and there's some more that are big, but we just have our little club and we swap rodeos around. We try to bring somebody up every year.
Okay.
A new guy. We brought Matt Tar up, and he's been the alternate for the NFR twice.
Okay.
He's been on that list every year. He's been in the Coolest Man in the Can list every year. You know, he was very successful. We brought some guys up that didn't make it, which, you know, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And,
no, understood.
You know, but we try to bring some up because we can't do every rodeo.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
And that makes sense. And one of my questions I had here was, what advice, and you've given a lot of advice over this now 3rd episode, you've given a lot of advice, and it matters to you, you know, that mentorship towards the young person that's wanting to come up. Well, I mean, I enjoyed doing that. So what advice right now, I walk up and I say, I want to be a rodeo entertainer. Forget being a barrel man necessarily.
Right.
I want to be a rodeo entertainer. How would I go about it? What's the first thing I do, Robbie? Okay,
the first thing you want to do, to me, is have something new that you stand out. And we've talked about that before. You know, when a guy calls and says, "Hey, Robbie, I want to get I want to be a rodeo clown. I've got this car and this outhouse act." Okay, well, you and about 73 other ones do that.
I see. Okay.
And it's not easy, Doug.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why it's not easy. And I don't remember if we've talked about this or not.
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube right now and watch a guy jump out of an airplane with no parachute.
Yeah.
You can go watch a guy on a bicycle do 39 backflips and land it, okay? We have nothing to compare to that, okay? You know.
Yep.
You have YouTube now, so it's tough.
Yeah.
So you better come up with something pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, have something new.
Yeah.
You're not Flint Rasmussen.
Yeah.
You're not John Harrison.
Yeah.
You're not Robbie Hodges.
Yep.
Be you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Be you, come up with it, because we need some more BUs. We've got plenty of guys that imitate Flint Rasmussen. We got plenty of guys that imitate other clowns.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot that imitate me, and I wonder why. I guess because I'm kind of rough, but no, it hurts me. Hurts me deeply. No, I do have. Have your own deal. Don't be the same guy, because then you're a cheap imitation. Why are you going to get the same price?
Yeah.
You know, you can get Equate brand, or you can get, you know. So that advice, and the other advice I give to somebody is, if you're not right now, everybody wants to move to this level, okay?
Right.
And they think that it's easy.
Yeah.
And it's not. I have worked my life to get into this position where I'm at, where I'm a
top entertainer.
I guess so. I don't like to say that.
That's no, top entertainer. Okay. One of the big dogs.
At the level of success that I've had in this business and sport, it didn't happen overnight.
No.
I've developed a character.
Yeah.
You know, I've developed another character. I have failed on some characters. You don't know how many people's garages, there are some really crappy acts that I thought were going to be the one that gets me Act of the Year.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that somebody said, they'll call and say, "What the hell do you want me to do with this tank?"
Right.
Or, you know.
Right. Right.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Didn't work. Yeah.
Get something new, and always call somebody and talk to them about what you need to do. Don't assume. And if somebody calls you about a rodeo and you know so-and-so had that rodeo, and it happens all the time,
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm having trouble hearing you, and you immediately pick up the phone and call the person that had it and let them know you're shopping that rodeo.
I see.
Or they're shopping it, not you.
Do you want me to stand in? Do you want me to stand back?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Joe, I'm letting you know they're shopping your rodeo. They called me about doing it in 2026. Have you got any plans on going back?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm already booked somewhere. That's what you'll usually get.
Okay.
And every once in a while they go, yeah, I'd like to go back again. Well, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
They'll say, dang, man, I didn't know they were shopping me.
Yeah.
And then as a courtesy, if you want to fit in, you'll say, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bid this sucker about $3,000 more than you are for the weekend.
I see.
And then if they really want you out of there, they're going to get rid of you, and then I'll take it.
Okay.
And work the barrel.
Work the barrel. Yeah, work the barrel.
If you can and you're physically capable, work the barrel, because you're giving them an extra thing there,
As we talked, that's a whole nother skill set all in of itself, though, right?
Yeah, it really is. And and that's a learning curve that hurts.
Yeah.
That's not one you learn in people ask me, what's the hardest part of rodeo? And I say, well, besides making 8,000 people laugh and not pissing one of them off,
right.
It's the fear of screwing a great bull ride up, or the fear of somebody getting hurt and you could have done more in your barrel. You
bet. So last couple questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything?
These are good questions.
Anything? I've got a whole bunch more. We might have to do a 4th episode, dude. Anything that I haven't asked you? What haven't I asked you that you'd love for somebody finally to ask you in an interview?
That is an awesome. Now am I running for Miss America here? No, I'm just kidding. How to make world peace, Doug.
Yeah.
World peace.
Yeah.
Now, I've always thought about this.
Yeah.
The hiding behind the makeup as opposed to playing in a band. It is so easy to hide. Like if I do an act and I screw something up, it was a rodeo. As my mentor, Rudy Burns, would say, dude, it was a clown act. It was screwed up when you started. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Well, let me tell you something. When you're standing up here playing guitar, you have to do it right.
No hiding.
No, you can't hide from it. Oh my gosh, I just passed a $250 hubcap for a Ram truck. Should I turn around and get it? Anybody in this world that owns a truck? Yeah. Anybody that drives a Dodge, they're in my opinion, the greatest trucks out there. But once you change the tire on it, you're going to lose a center cap, and they're $150. I just saw one.
Oh,
I just saw a brick of gold laying on the side of the highway right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Back to that question is, I've never walked in an arena. Does it bother you when people write letters? Is another question. Absolutely.
Okay.
They can be 9,000 people there, and that one letter hurts me more than the 9,000 who cheered, patted you on the back. Had a good time, shake your hand, want to come drink beer with you. That, to me, that is the hardest part of this deal.
Does that happen on occasion?
Absolutely, it has. 2016 was a horrible year for me, but I found out how many friends I had, and you don't just get over some overzealous reporter, and the next thing you know, you're on the news, and, and I don't agree with things that a lot of them say. I think some people have said some things that they should have not. Right. I didn't walk out there intending on insulting anyone,
Right.
And give me a chance to make it right. Don't write this stuff on Tuesday.
Right.
when I'm not there to defend myself. Come up to me during that rodeo and say, hey, my son has this problem. My son, he might be confused about his gender or something. And I don't use that anymore. I didn't like what you said about the president, which I don't anymore. Yep. Very, very seldom.
Yep.
I didn't like what you said about Nancy Pelosi. But, back in the day, politicians were supposed to be fair game.
Right.
Ask Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nowadays, if you do it, you're going to have a cancel culture.
Right. 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 Yeah.
Another question like that is the preparation it takes during the winter to build an act, and how long and how much thought has to go into something that nobody else has.
Yeah.
It's virtually impossible.
Where do the ideas come from? Do they just pop out at you?
Yeah.
You just go,
Elvis came to me one time standing in a shower.
You told me that. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And wham, and then the chicken in outer space.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. It was just like, hey, we're going to send a chicken to the sun. Maybe I heard an act.
Yeah.
Maybe I heard something like an act where, where this guy was going to go to the sun. We're going to go at night. I'm like, that queued up something that said, hey, this, this shit's chicken in outer space.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff I'll swap with somebody. I had an act where Preston Folks taught me to do an act one time. And as an example, he taught me this act, the old gold digger act, where you have the commode lid and it pops. And, remember that when he used to walk around and you'd find the bottle of whiskey in the dirt? Mm-hmm. I did it at Pasadena a few years ago because I was having to do multiple multi-day acts. And I did it. And Mark Evans, he says one day, he said, man, do you reckon I could borrow that? And I said, take it all.
Right.
And you know what? This year, he brought it back to me and I did it there again, So, nice. And everyone's like, why would you give somebody an act like that? And I said, because one day I'm going to have to stand before my maker and I'm going to say, I tried to help somebody, Yeah. They used to say Elvis gave away more than he ever had, and it recouped after his death, And one day when somebody, they're at those 9 people, and 3 of them, are the only ones that aren't carrying me.
Yeah.
Look over in that pine box, and they're going to say, I don't know how many NFRs that guy had.
Right.
I don't know how many awards and plaques, but you know what he did? He helped me get started. The Facebook posts, and that's what I try to tell the kids. Don't be a single person in this business. You can't do it. Very, very seldom have I seen it work. You better have some allies and buddies because every one of us had to have some help along the way, Be it a rodeo announcer recommending you, another clown recommending you. And the only way to do that is play with the team, play for your team and be on that team. And you may have to take one for the team every once in a while. You may have to do something you don't want to do. You may have to skip a rodeo. You may have to give one up for somebody needing something, Yep.
Wow. Okay.
And have a good microphone. You are no better.
They can't hear you,
no
right?
better. If they have to strain to hear you, they have to strain to laugh.
Yeah. That's good.
And one more advice, and then I'm going to quit.
Okay.
If you don't have time to say it, answer it with the announcer, people process it, and people laugh about it, then wait before you say it.
Okay.
I hear a lot of clowns thinking they got to squeeze a joke in right there in 30 seconds. It should be a 1-minute setup.
Yeah.
And it totally runs. And then once you do that, that joke's ruined for the weekend.
Yep.
You don't go, and then he went over there and he had a chicken.
Right. Yep.
People have to process a joke. And don't ever start a joke with the first line of it.
Okay.
Hey, man, guess what happened? Is what you start it with.
I see.
You want to grab them, and you always hit them a little hard with good gosh, you don't believe what happened yesterday.
Okay.
And then you say, and I'll give you an example. Last night at that wedding, the first line was in my script that my beautiful girlfriend helped me write out, and actually I got the whole wedding ceremony from Bob Tallman.
Okay.
Who I called it. He helped me with it. The legend,
The legend.
I even mentioned that.
Absolutely.
So I walked up there, and I just didn't like when when everybody got up there and the first thing, and I didn't want to sound like Catherine. To whom do I give this bride away in these sacred times of tomorrow?
Yeah.
I looked at everybody out there, and about half of them I knew.
Yeah.
Joe B was there and all them. I said, well, folks, it's one hell of a way to start a Tuesday night, ain't it? They all just changed the whole.
You bet.
What a great way to spend a Tuesday night at somebody's wedding.
You bet.
Totally changed the entire mood, and then they knew it was going to be a clown doing it,
Yeah.
But then I kept it serious and I kept it reverent, but I could also throw a little bit in after that,
Yeah.
And when you start a joke like that, do it like that. Do it, catch them. You got to catch them. And then I went right into the, oh, may I, I didn't do the Audrey Hepburn,
no.
Catherine Hepburn, but.
Right. Imitation. No. All
But
right.
That's my advice.
Final question then. Thank you for all the advice, and hopefully the youngsters that are interested in being rodeo entertainers are taking notes as they listen to this episode, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And do you have a new joke that you're trying out that you could share with us?
Oh, boy.
Is this the hardest question of the night?
I used it the other day, and about
that's okay.
I've used it a couple of times. I said, the other night I was I went to the bar pretty late and said, I went for my last beer.
Yeah.
This is dumb. This isn't set up, but I said I went for my last beer and I had to walk across at 2:30 in the morning. I had to walk across the dance floor and I end up winning the dance contest.
Just walking across.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't have a fanny pack full of jokes.
No.
Because there's so much comedy.
Yeah.
In the guy toting 9 beers up to the.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Or the guy yelling at his kid. And the other day I said this when I said, so I see this guy just giving it to his kid, and I'm like, do you want me to do that for you? Yeah. And I'm like, no, sit down. And he just looks at me and I said, do you know how hard it is to have authority in a clown suit?
Right. In the moment, right? In the moment.
I have to work off. Doug, you've known that for me most of my life. And then once we get rolling on something and you that was some of my favorite times. And you say, hold on, Sammy. Don't let him nod just yet because this idiot is on a flipping tangent right here.
He's rolling.
Yeah. And that's when it's good, man. That's when it's good. That's when you've got them.
Yep.
That's when you've got them. That's when they're singing along to the first note of a song you sang.
You bet.
So.
Wow. Well, Robbie, we have covered a lot, and I know there's another 10, 12, 14 hours yet to record, I think.
Well, we don't want to bore them.
Well, I don't think they're going to be bored, but my goodness, what a hoot to catch up, dude. What a hoot yeah.
This has been such an adventure, and, if you got room for one more, I'd love to start with, the music folks and the Leonard Skinner stuff and the Blackberry Smoke stuff and the Georgia Satellite things and the Heath Wright from Ricochets and maybe next week. And I promise we'll shorten this up some. But man, this is like sitting at a bar stool with you and catching up, man.
Okay. All right.
I'm so proud of what you're doing.
Well, I got great storytellers here with me. That's what I got. I got folks that, like yourself, that just weave it together, man. And the more you talk, the more questions I got. That's just how this goes. So, but we're going to end it here tonight. It. You bet. So, 2 hands on the wheel, 10 and 2.
Got them. Okay. I always do. That's why I've got this thing on there.
Absolutely, hands free, right? I mean, you are
hands free.
Yes. And
hands free and eyes on the road.
And
yes.
Eyes on the road.
Hey, we're stretching them now. We were almost 2 hours.
We are. We're getting there.
You bet.
And do punch in that BTC. You can find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts there, Robbie. And what a way to make the miles go, right? What a way.
Oh, it's great.
Okay.
You know, I listened to your cast from St. Tite the other day. It was great talking to Sylvan. Yeah. Next thing I know, I'm where I'm at, you know?
Okay.
So.
Well, do you realize I posted up the 35th episode today?
Wow.
Dale Yerrigan. Do you ever hear of Dale
Yerrigan? Oh, yeah. Dale Yerrigan. Dale and I used to travel with Cody Sosby. If you ever get him back on and you need to do another one, you need to ask him about Cody Sosby trying to lose weight and hiding the ho-ho cakes under his pillow and getting caught.
Okay, I will do that. Actually, he and I are going to have another conversation coming up, hopefully over the next week or so, Dale and I. Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
You bet.
Sounds amazing.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoy our podcast as much as Robbie and I enjoy doing it. I think you can tell by our conversations that it is a hoot. So check us out. Hey, we're now on Instagram, Beyond the Chutes. And to make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. Reminder, check out the New York State Rodeo Museum Facebook group page and become a member. And we'd like to thank ParaSight Systems for their support with our podcast. ParaSight System is a push-button parasitic diagnostic system for pasture animals, horses, cattle, goats, sheep, and chickens. And for your companion animals, your dogs and your cats, you can find them at ParasightSystems.com. And BTC 023 is a coupon code. BTC 023. Use that coupon code to save 50% off of your test kits. So when you go online there at ParaSight Systems. Now this is Beyond the Chutes. We've had a blast with Rockin' Robbie Hodges. Until next time, thank you for listening.